welcoming you here to a comfortable seat as we get started into our yoga practice today. Just taking a moment to yourself to kind of get acquainted with the surroundings. This might be a very known place to you, maybe a spot in your home even. But sometimes we can kind of, miss the trees for the forest, or in a way just forget that we have details around us and get so absorbed in what we are maybe thinking about or working on. So even just for a couple of breaths, maybe just taking a glance around you to see what your surroundings look like to you today and this morning, or whatever time of day you might be practicing. And we use this as an opportunity to get grounded into the space as we kind of visually connect with colors and textures and shapes around us, maybe the play between light and shadow. We allow ourselves to kind of enter into the space that we're in with that present self awareness. So inviting that here as a part of our experience, even though you may be very familiar with what things may be around you, allowing yourself to look at them from the perspective of today. This is a concept in yoga that I was taught as beginner's mind. Kind of going back to that place of not assuming that we know what we're experiencing or that we know what to expect. Maybe withdrawing that sense of I know where I'm going, or I have this outcome, in mind, and being kind of stepping back into that place of curiosity. So just inviting that as an intention for today, coming back to that space where we can reapproach ourselves, being that we haven't ever lived this day. We haven't ever had this breath in our bodies. And each time that we're going to take a shape together, this is going to be the first time that you, as you are right now, takes this shape. And truly the only time that you will be in this place, in this time, in these shapes. So allowing yourself to really honor this newness, and coming back to that space where we can release kind of the judgments or the expectations of the practice and give ourselves the grace to just really experience each moment as much and as deeply as possible. Maybe through all of that you've gotten yourself time to orient to the breath. If you need to have a little reminder, maybe rolling the shoulders back and down. You can even do that a few times if that helps you kind of set up in the place you need to be. Maybe squeezing the shoulder blades toward each other and down the back. Maybe dropping the shoulders away from the ears here. Maybe lifting up from the sit bones, rising through the low spine. Maybe tucking the navel in toward the spine. Maybe knitting some of those lowest ribs together. Allowing the heart space to be open and the lungs to fill up from the bottom up with each breath. Lifting through the crown of the head here. Maybe taking a slight bow of the chin toward the chest, helping to lengthen the back of the neck. Maybe practicing sending some calm energy into the low body if there's tension or kind of that need to hold you up. Notice if you can do that more through the whole self as opposed to just the low legs or the low body. If you would like to bring some breath and movement together, you might start with a little bit of sun breath. Inhaling, we might rise the arms. They might go part way or they might go all the way up. With the exhale, just gently lowering those arms back down, kind of allowing yourself to slow down gravity and take the full length of the exhale for that movement. Inhaling to rise those arms back up when you're ready. And again, they might just go part way. You might even only lift from the elbows, not from the shoulders, depending on your needs. And that might be, kind of specific to you. Maybe you have one shoulder that might be hurting. Your shape might look a little less symmetrical. And that's okay. There's still beauty in allowing yourself to attune to what it is you specifically need. And taking this time just for a few rounds of this breath, guiding us even into a calmer place of being here. As you're ready, maybe taking one final breath in this way. Allowing the lift of the fingertips to also encourage that lift through the crown of the head. Perhaps the palms meet together at the top this time. With the exhale, maybe drawing the hands in towards center. You might take a little bow of the head if you like, or create a reverent space. Maybe setting an intention for yourself or in this practice today. You may notice, allow yourself to kind of also be with your heart space. Notice if there's anything here that does need attending to. Maybe giving yourself just a chance to check in, experience how you feel as we approach this practice, and that could even be a number check-in. So you might give yourself, somewhere between 0 and 10. Maybe 0 is everything's totally calm and good. 10 is just unimaginable distress, and somewhere maybe in between. Do you feel your place kind of on that spectrum today? Releasing attachments to what that number may correspond to for yourself. And as we take this next hour or so to be in practice, allowing ourselves to really give ourselves the time and space to be present. Maybe starting here with a little bit of movement for the low body if you like. Hands can support from behind you. Feet to the floor and knees just gently tilting side to side. You might take just a little bit of breath and time here, noticing if there are parts of the body that are talking to you as you invite a little bit of movement. Are there spaces that you are aware need some support or some extra stretch or time today? Good. As we are feeling ready, maybe bringing ourselves back to center, an option to start with the legs open, feet together. Hands can come to the ankles or the arches, perhaps. Maybe gently starting to press the knees down toward the ground as we lift the heart and the crown of the head away from the floor. Inviting about 4 or 5 rounds of breath here to attune to your posture. Attune to the feeling of the shape. Maybe noticing where you feel any intensity, pressure, or stretch here. Maybe giving it another breath or two as you like. Choosing for yourself if you want to lean into this shape a little bit deeper, we can take it into a forward fold. Alternatively, if that doesn't feel good to you and you want to just stretch the legs out and come into a forward fold, feel free to make that adjustment for yourself. If you do like this bound angle shape, you might just consider taking the feet a little further in front of you to help create a little bit more space for that fold. With a nice deep breath, inhaling to reach through the crown of the head, nice flat back. And then with an exhale, leaning that heart forward until the flat back can no longer kind of exist. And then from that place, the long spine can lean forward. Maybe the head can be soft here if that feels good to you. Maybe you notice yourself relaxing through the jaw or the face, if possible. You might even just gently invite the backs of the hands to the ground, helping to release some of the strength or control from the arms and the shoulders, letting it be a little bit more heavy. Maybe taking 3 or 4 more rounds of breath here just to settle into gravity, find a still place. Invite the mind to be as still as the body. Coming back to noticing what you feel here and what you may need. Maybe another breath or moment here if you like. When you finish the last exhale, finding an in-breath to help yourself rise back up, maybe gently walking the hands back in and up. Good. Maybe those knees come together again. Hands can support behind. Maybe just taking a gentle movement side to side. Good. Warming up with a little bit of spinal twist, inviting both knees to just kind of come over to one side in that rocking pattern. And then whichever ways the knees are pointing is the way we're going to just kind of turn the body. So the hands can continue to kind of walk around and behind. You might even just gently brace one hand on the opposite knee here. The other hand can be kind of like a kickstand. And then just taking the gaze around the shoulder so the twist comes through the whole neck and the upper back. Each inhale, thinking about drawing yourself taller. Each exhale, thinking about twisting a little bit deeper. Good. 4 or 5 breaths here as you choose. If there's something uncomfortable or painful, giving yourself that chance to back out or find a better space for yourself. Good. Still thinking about stretching the top of the head away from the tailbone and vice versa. Breath still filling through the rib cage, both the front and the back body. Maybe giving it one more breath or so here if you like. At the end of an exhale, turning toward that next inhale, coming back through center. And maybe again, you kind of rock those knees to the middle. You might transition with a little movement here if you like to. You might just roll directly to the other side. Knees coming to point the other direction here. And then again, kind of walking the body around the same direction that the knees are pointing. Maybe the top hand here on the opposite knee. Back hand as a kickstand, lifting through the crown of the head. And then exhaling to take yourself around into twist, including the gaze, maybe even the eyes into the periphery of the vision. Good. Thinking about that axial stretch of the spine, so the crown of the head lifting away from the tailbone. The tailbone's kind of sinking into the earth, grounding us here. Checking in if you need anything else out of this shape, a little bit less, or some sort of change or adjustment. Maybe that desire to retreat just a little bit deeper into your mental kind of psyche or your mental space. What are you noticing here? Maybe another breath or moment if you like it. When you're ready to release, again, just allowing yourself to gently release, come out of that shape. Maybe the feet come back to the floor. You take a little bit of movement side to side with the knee. Good. Inviting a little bit of a deeper twist here. So we've got that one kind of as a warm-up. Inviting this time, maybe the left leg comes out from the hip, heel pushing away. Right foot either inside of that left knee or over top of it, if you can cross that foot over comfortably. Good. Taking our time here to set up the shape, left hand on the right knee or vice versa if that's where you're at. And that arm can even wrap around a little bit deeper if that feels good to you. So using a little bit more traction of the arm this time, if that feels okay, to create the twist. Inhaling, you might lift through the right arm. With the exhale, really sweep that shoulder back behind you. Fingertips acting as a kickstand here as well. Lifting up through the crown of the head and taking that gaze around. If you like a little bit deeper twist or some more action, you can take a half bind. So bending through the right elbow, placing the hand onto the low back, or even wrapping it around toward the left hip. Depending on your reach, You can even work toward connecting the right and the left hand through the knee, but that's more levels than I'm going to get to today. The half bind can still help you really open up the shoulder, draw yourself around, so maybe playing with that sense. If that feels like too much, just releasing the hands back down to the floor. Giving time for 2 or 3 more breaths here as you like. Finishing on an exhale with the next in-breath. Maybe releasing that half bind. Inviting you here to draw that right knee in toward the chest a little bit more. So we're just going to scoop up that leg, draw it in, and you might notice yourself kind of leaning back to like hug that knee in. Inviting you instead to lean forward, leaning into it a little bit deeper to find that hip stretch there, the glute medius and minimus on the outer side of that hip. Find that nice comfortable stretch, not too hot, not too cold. Heart stays lifted, shoulders stay down away from the ears. Lifting through the crown of the head here if you can. Another couple of breaths perhaps if you like. When you're feeling ready to release that first leg, guiding it gently down the mat. Allowing the body to kind of readjust, and you might even take a little bit of a pounding or a little desensitizing here for that leg muscle. If there's anything kind of caught up, just giving ourselves a little bit of a self-massage, the pounding movement. Okay. So just dividing the same shape here to the other side. So this time the right foot is going to stay out, left foot either inside the right knee or gently crossing over if that foot wants to sit flat on the floor here. This time the right hand is going to cross over to that left knee, or the arm might even wrap around if you've got a little bit deeper of a stance there. Inviting the left hand, inhaling to come up, exhaling to turn it back and around, really opening through the shoulder and the heart space. Left fingers as the kickstand, rising up through the crown of the head with every breath in. With the exhale, maybe taking that intention into twist a little deeper. Creating the half bind if you wish to. Wrap the left hand around the back or toward the right hip. Deep breath here for yourself. That gentle sensation of bringing the body out, releasing what we no longer need, and giving space for what we could use more of in our lives. And deep breaths through the whole body, another breath or 2 perhaps. Feeling ready to release the shape, starting maybe with that half bind, guiding yourself back around gently, and then that option to hug the left knee in toward the chest this time, just kind of wrapping those arms or hands around, drawing it into yourself, again checking if you're leaning far back to get that hug, maybe instead try to lean it a little bit forward. Most of all, keeping the spine tall and upright, shoulders away from the ears. Breathing deep into this shape, you might notice a really strong stretch there for the outer hip. So being gentle with yourself. You don't need to do it all at once. Grounding into that gentle flow of breath, inhales and exhales. Giving yourself the space to notice each and every one. Another breath or 2 here if you like. Finishing with an exhale. At the end of that released breath, maybe drawing that left foot forward as well. And if you want to add that little self-massage, I can go all the way up to the hip and all the way down maybe to the knee. Maybe the outer side of the leg, top of the leg, wherever you're feeling maybe a need to kind of let anything go. This is a way of kind of giving ourselves a shakeout. Sometimes we do an energy bath or release with a wiggle or a shake. This is a lot similar to that. Just giving that little vibration to the body to help let go of anything that might be stuck. Good. So from here, inviting a nice deep forward fold, maybe taking an in-breath high with the arms swooping up. With an exhale, maybe reaching it forward into a fold. Could be with a flat back, heart lifted, or again, kind of when you find the spine is ready to curve from that long spine, lifting it and allowing yourself to fold forward with the heart. Maybe the hands find a clasp on the legs, the feet, or the toes, depending on your flexibility today. Maybe allow the head to drop toward the legs, the neck, and the face to be soft. This can be a strong fold with that handhold, drawing yourself a little bit deeper down. You might just allow yourself to kind of melt the shape. Maybe again, those backs of hands coming to the floor. Gravity just helping you to do that work of opening the back body a little at a time. Wherever you're feeling the stretch, sending breath directly to those places. Maybe another 2 breaths here if you choose. When you feel ready, maybe allowing yourself to gently rise back up, slowly, carefully. Maybe coming to point and flex those toes or ankles here a few times. Upright posture for the upper body, holding ourselves tall with our core, navel in toward the spine, top of the pelvis tilted up. Good, maybe rotating through the ankles, could be both feet going the same direction, or you can take opposite directions. Just switching about halfway through, or allowing yourself to kind of practice both directions in equal amounts. We'll just switch again and give one more kind of set of rounds each way. Good, maybe finishing up with the last few rounds here, depending on your direction and your choices. Good. Coming to settle the feet when you're ready, maybe taking that bounce into the knees. An option here then to release anything that you may be sitting on. Send that off to the side. An option to just roll right over onto the mat from here. Drawing ourselves into a little bit of Sphinx pose. So elbows directly beneath the shoulders. Hands, palms down facing the floor. Maybe rolling into the shoulders to help establish the scapula down the back. Flat, positioned where they're kind of meant to be. You can choose for yourself, do you like strengthen the bottom of the body? Do you like to strengthen the glutes, press the feet into the floor? Does that feel good and supportive to you? Or do you like to relax that low body, maybe even wag the tail a little bit side to side to help create softness there? You might play with those sensations and see what feels best for yourself. Maybe lifting through the crown of the head here, shoulders away from ears. Space between the collarbones, nice deep breath. Good. An option from here, if you want to take it to a soft place, you might go ahead and give yourself a belly down rest. You can take the chest all the way to the floor and relax the arms by your sides. If you want to follow me into a little bit more strength building today, inviting a tuck of the toes underneath. Elbows again kind of right underneath the shoulders, maybe lifting the hips up for a forearm plank today. If it feels better to you, hands can come to clasp and releasing the fingers. From here, when you Do create that hip lift, tucking the tailbone strongly underneath, so you're creating that long line in the body. And you can choose how long you want to be here. You can give yourself a rest or put the knees down for a little bit more support. I'll invite about 3 to 5 more breaths here, but taking them as you need them. No expectation of what you do or do not do. But definitely taking time to explore what it is you need. So maybe finding that last couple of breaths if you're still here in the plank, or giving that rest to yourself as you may need. Good. Maybe coming to ground those knees if you haven't already. Walking the body up and back. Maybe transferring to a child's pose here. Hips toward the heels. Arms can reach long in front of you, or even tuck in by the sides for more of a folded leaf shape. However you choose to be, allowing yourself to maybe melt the forehead toward the floor, relax the neck, soften the jaw. Maybe giving yourself the time to feel what a deep breath is like in this shape. Again, finding that beginner's mind. This is the first time you, as you are today, maybe are taking this shape. Is there something different or new for you to experience? By coming back to it with that sense of no expectation. Inviting 2 or 3 more breaths here, really giving ourselves the time to enjoy this space of quiet. Maybe tuning into the sound of the breath, echoing in the kind of cave shape of the body. From here, maybe walking those hands a little bit further forward, reaching the arms out long, fingers spreading wide. With an inhale, inviting you to rise up through table pose and draw yourself high up toward cobra pose. So lifting through the heart, shoulders away from the ears, the gaze can rise. With the exhale, option to press it back toward child's pose or to downward facing dog. So inhaling, maybe coming forward to cobra pose. I can show you what that other option looks like. Maybe tucking the toes, lifting strong through plank, and exhaling back to a downward dog. That's another option here. Inhaling forward to drop those knees, and exhaling, maybe pressing it back to child's pose. And you might just alternate. Maybe one breath or one exhale you press back to down dog, one exhale you press to child's pose. Just choosing for yourself what you like in your own flow today. Giving yourself the time and space to feel through the movements of the body, engaging some of these major joints in some kind of supportive strength. Bearing the weight through the hands, maybe through the knees, maybe through the feet. Taking maybe a couple more breaths in your flow, however you like. And we'll finish with an option either to come toward the child's pose and hold if that soft space is best for you right now. Or if you'd like to take it a little bit deeper and go here into that downward facing dog, maybe giving yourself some time to pedal through the feet, alternating a bend in the knees. Maybe softening the head and the neck through the shoulders. Maybe rising and lowering on the toes if that feels good to you. You might just press the heels back toward the floor. Really stretching through the calves. If the heels do not touch and you want to bring a blanket forward to
create that cushion for the heels, this is another opportunity here for you. We'll work our way up towards standing. So if you are in the downward dog, you want to find your way here and take little steps toward the hands. You can make that approach, finding yourself in a forward fold. If you need a bigger, safer step, maybe grounding the knees first, coming forward with one hand at a time, or excuse me, 1 foot at a time, hands on the knees for support, and gently rising yourself up to that standing on the feet place. We'll meet in our forward fold. It could be a halfway fold if the head and heart feel best kind of on the same plane or level. You can take a ski pose, bend into the knees and the elbows, head being soft here. Or you can take that full forward fold, hinging forward from the hips, allowing gravity to take the upper body down. Maybe that's just a soft place for the arms, kind of like a rag doll. Or you might even choose a handhold on the toes, the feet, or the ankles to help draw the body down a little bit deeper. So you can choose if any of those options works for you, or where you might just need to feel yourself today. Inviting the breath to come to fill through the rib cage, maybe expanding more of the back ribs in this shape, depending. Maybe taking one more full breath in and full breath out. Wherever you are, maybe taking that bend into your knees here. Pointing the tailbone down and rising with the inhale, 1 vertebra at a time, so the chin can stay heavy on the chest. And then stretching all the little vertebrae in the neck. As we rise to standing. Maybe taking the shoulder roll back and down a few times here. Finding ourselves on the feet, you might kind of shift around or kind of walk yourself into position. We'll take it here toward mountain pose. So feet could be hip width distance or a little bit closer. Maybe those big toes touch. Allowing ourselves to strengthen into the body, starting with the feet. Consciously lifting through the arches while grounding the base of the big toe, the base of the little toe, and the heel together. We imagine roots digging from the 3 corners of each foot down into the ground, lifting the arches that connect those 3 points. Drawing the strength up into the legs by engaging the calf muscles and the shins, lifting into the kneecaps, strengthening through the upper legs, quadriceps and hamstrings. Taking the strength into the hips and the pelvis, tucking the tailbone strongly underneath, and drawing the navel in toward the spine. Hands can release by the sides. Again, shoulders back and down. Heart open, space between the collarbones. Maybe the hands are energized and really express the light that you're shining through yourself here. And taking that little lift through the crown of the head. So again, we're rising from our roots. Taking breath through the whole body. Imagining ourselves breathing all the way down into those toes. As we release that breath, we just give ourselves space to draw that next life breath into ourselves. Do one more deep breath like this if you choose. Noticing the strength in the whole body. Turning on just a little bit more. The next inhale, maybe taking the arms out and up. An option to bring the palms together overhead. Take a little back bend if that feels good to you. With the exhale, maybe coming forward and down into fold as deep as you want to go. You can stop halfway. Again, take it to ski pose or take that full forward fold if you choose. Inhaling, coming here to a halfway lift. A flat back, shoulders away from ears, tailbone high. Exhaling, hands coming back to ground. If you'd like to, go ahead and step the right foot back, taking it in toward a lunge pose. Maybe grounding the knee. Maybe walking those left toes a little further forward so the knee and ankle are in line here. We'll pause in this space and give ourselves just a few breaths in lunge.
Adjusting to the stretch here for maybe the right hip flexors, maybe into the left glute or the low back. This is another time we can choose to lengthen the spine or flatten the back. Really give ourselves that credence of the shape, fidelity to alignment here. Good. If you like to, taking an exhale, maybe stretching back into a half split or a runner's pose. Maybe turning that right hip a little further forward, rotating the left hip back, and noticing how that might accentuate that stretch there in the hamstring. Again, not giving yourself too much, nothing to overwhelm. Just noticing where we might have space to change or breathe, be it today or another day. Giving it another breath or two here if you choose. Finding an inhale when you're ready to rock it forward again. Hands can gently walk forward, coming back to the lunge shape. This time the hands flat and the toe tucking behind you. Good, deep breath in here with the exhale, maybe stepping that left foot back here toward a downward facing dog. Inhaling, you can come forward here toward a plank pose. Again, tailbone tucked under strongly. With the exhale, you can have knees up or down, lowering the body toward the floor, elbows staying in toward the sides. Good. Inhaling, maybe rising up into a low cobra if you like. Squeezing the shoulder blades together, lifting through the heart. With the exhale, again, maybe grounding the chest. Option to press up in a strong push-up here toward plank pose, knees up or down. With the exhale, pressing it back toward downward facing dog. Good. From here, an option to just walk both feet forward toward the hands. Take an inhale to rise to that halfway lift. Exhaling into our forward fold here, as deep as you want to go. Inhaling to rise, this time with the heart first, breathing in to find standing. Sweeping the hands high, maybe taking the back bend at the top. And exhaling hands into center. Good. We'll take that same option here to the second side. Deep breath in when you're ready. Sweeping the hands high, palms together, back bend option. Exhaling to come into a forward fold. Again, you can step halfway, ski pose or full fold. Inhaling to find that half lift if you aren't there already. Exhaling, hands to ground. This time the left foot steps back for the lunge. Maybe those right toes inch forward so the ankle and the knee are stacked directly in line. You might come to ground that left knee behind you and just give yourself a little bit of a softer shape. Noticing where the stretch is. Could be that left hip flexor, front of that left hip. Maybe right glute or low back. Just taking some breath here. Giving space to the places within you that might be feeling a little bit closed or tight. This breath is a life force, and we want to send it to those places that need our support and energy. Good. If you like to take the runner stretch or half split, maybe rocking back with an exhale here. Again, maybe rotating the left hip forward, the right hip back this time. Can accentuate a little bit more of that stretch there for some of those hamstrings. You might even gently flex the toes back toward the face to help remind you of the openness for the calf and the hamstring in the back of the leg. Maybe taking a couple more breaths here if you choose. Good. One more loving breath. At the end of that exhale, maybe taking the turn of the next in-breath to release back toward the lunge. Hands coming firm to the ground and tucking in the left toes this time. And exhale, maybe taking it back to the downward facing dog. Inhaling, maybe coming forward to plank. Knees can be up or down. Tailbone tucked under with the strength. Exhaling, elbows in by the sides, lowering toward the ground. Good. Inhaling to rise up for a low cobra. You can press down through those hands to help lift the heart, squeeze the shoulder blades. Exhaling, releasing when you're ready. And then strength coming into the front of the fingertips. Inhaling to rise for a plank pose. Exhaling, maybe pressing back again to downward facing dog. Feet can walk forward here toward the hands, or again, those big safe steps can come into play. 1 foot at a time coming forward. Rising to the halfway lift with an in-breath. We'll meet here. And exhaling into our forward fold once again, as deep as you want to go. Rising with the breath all the way up to standing. Taking that inhale up into back bend if you'd like to. And exhaling, hands dropping into center. Good. Inviting here just to flow down back into our forward fold. This time taking a little step with the right foot coming toward a pyramid pose. So it might feel a little bit like that, the half split that we were just in, especially if we're rotating that right hip forward and the left hip back. So notice if you can kind of make that adjustment for yourself. You can bend into that left knee as much as you need to, kind of creating the softness that feels right for you and your body, and work on lengthening, flattening out that left knee over time. You're also welcome to draw the chin toward the chest and make a forehead and knee connection, or reach toward that forehead-knee connection. And you're welcome to bend that knee to make that point, so we're just looking kind of like right in the center of the brow is where we would place that knee. Taking some nice deep breaths here, a couple more breaths as feels good to you. Right hip still rotating forward, left hip still rotating back. Good, nice deep breath. If you like to take a little bit deeper, you're welcome to walk those hands forward and work on a little bit of balance. So you're starting to lift some of the weight off the right foot. It could just be the right toes are barely touching. It could be that you choose to lift the leg about halfway up. You could choose to reach a little bit higher and go toward what we call standing split. Even the left hand can wrap around the left ankle and rise that right leg just a little bit higher. So you choose how far you want to go. Don't have to go all of these layers deep. Give yourself kind of the right level of challenge for today. Good. Maybe gently working your way back down toward the ground, a little at a time. Maybe coming to connect that right foot in the same place as that left foot. You might take a little bend in the knees and relax the upper body on the legs. Giving yourself a little soft rest. Maybe relaxing through the head, the neck, or the jaw here. And when you're feeling ready, allowing yourself to take the second side. So this time the left foot steps a little bit back into pyramid pose. Bending into the right knee any amount. That's for you to choose. Working on lengthening and opening that right knee over time. You might make that forehead-knee connection here. You might focus on spiraling the left hip forward this time and the right hip back. Deep breaths into the body, giving yourself time to feel the stretch. Breathing into those places that maybe feel the tightest or the most constricted. Taking it slow here. One breath at a time. Choosing for yourself if you want to go any deeper, an option here for that half split layer. If you want to just walk the hands a little bit to the ground, maybe start to lift off the left leg
And again, that can be any amount. It could be just a centimeter or two, maybe a foot or two. Maybe that leg comes to hip level. You may extend a little bit deeper into that standing split. Maybe the right hand on the right calf for support. Choosing how far you want to reach or go. Nice deep breaths here. When you're ready to release it down, again taking it gradually, maybe taking each of the layers in turn. And gently stepping that left foot toward the right. Ooh. When you're ready here, placing both feet on the ground, bending into the knees, perhaps resting that chest on the thighs and letting the head be soft. Inviting one more breath here and rest. And when you're ready, we'll go ahead and just walk ourselves down toward the floor, hands supporting. It can be back through a downward facing dog if that feels good to you. You may just drop those knees here toward table pose. We're re-equilibrating back to ground. Gently and slowly. When you're feeling ready, maybe turning the hips toward the floor. Coming to find our way to the center of the mat. Maybe allowing ourselves to release down onto the back. Could be with a strong kind of core strength practice. Your hands can tuck behind the knees or even be out to the sides for a little bit more challenge. And then just practicing rolling one vertebra down to the floor at a time. Chin and chest connection helps that core strength to stay engaged. Even gently releasing through the upper neck and upper body. Good. Finding the floor as you're ready, maybe taking those knees side to side if that feels okay for you. Good. An option to bring it into a little bit of bridge pose. So walking the feet toward the hips here. Flipping the palms down toward the floor on either side of the body. Keeping the back of the neck extended and long. And as we lift through the low body, we're going to draw the chest toward the chin, not chin toward the chest. But the back of the head presses into the floor. Chest rises toward the chin. As you're ready, taking an inhale here, pressing the feet into the ground and lifting up through the glutes. Drawing the knees in toward center, in toward each other, helps to add that strength and stretch to the quadricep. This could just be a one breath hold for you. You might choose 4 or 5 breaths in this shape. Challenging your strength, maybe lifting a little bit deeper with every breath. If you need less time in the shape, you might reapproach it a couple of times over the course of this period. Maybe taking another couple of breaths here if it feels good to you. When you're ready to release down, inviting that same kind of roll, one vertebra at a time when you're ready, starting from the upper back, using core control to release just one vertebra at a time as much as possible. When you arrive here, maybe softening those knees, shaking them side to side. Good. I'll invite one more shape. One more option for a bridge pose. So if you like that one, feel free to practice again. If you want a little bit more lift this time, again walking those feet in toward the hips. Lifting through the low body with an inhale. And then allow yourself maybe to clasp the hands behind the back or interlace the fingers underneath. Maybe rolling onto those shoulders a little bit deeper and pressing up out of the floor.
Good. Deep breaths here. Maybe squeezing those shoulder blades even stronger towards center. You can even reverse the clasp of the hands if you want to, midway. The other thumb switches to top. Another couple of breaths here perhaps if you choose. Maybe coming to unlock the fingers when you're ready, hands on the ground for support. The last exhale, taking yourself down to ground one vertebra at a time. Good. Softening down to the floor as you're ready, maybe taking those knees side to side again. An option for kind of final shapes is reclined twist. You can choose if you like to take just one knee across the body in a twist, or if you want to bring both knees together. So I'll demonstrate today just both knees together, but choose for yourself where you want to go. Starting by bringing the knees into the chest for a nice hug, extending the tailbone down toward the ground so we're getting that compression into the hip flexors. Nice deep breath here into the body. You might notice the belly pressing against the legs and the legs pressing into the belly. An option to release those arms out from shoulders. If you want to, maybe start by taking both knees over to the left side. The gaze might come to the right hand behind you. That just helps the twist to come up through the upper back and neck as well. You might soften the eyes here or close the eyes. You can choose what feels safe and comfortable. And then as much as you can, just relaxing into the gravity of the shape. Releasing any splinting, especially through the hip or leg. Letting go of any tension in the jaw, if you can. Letting the face be soft. Maybe noticing if the shoulders can melt into the earth. Maybe another couple of breaths here if you like the shape. Whenever you feel ready, allowing yourself to gently come back towards center perhaps. Maybe a little side to side movement for the knees, massaging the back a bit. You can take it the other direction when you feel ready, so maybe both knees come to the right side, or if it's one knee at a time, taking the opposite direction. Again here, maybe the gaze comes over the hand behind you, completing the twist through the neck. Gaze can be soft, your eyes can be closed. Imagining just kind of gravity over top of you like a blanket, drawing you closer to the earth, holding you in a safe place. Noticing any splinting in the leg or hip, allowing yourself to give away anything that doesn't serve you here. Taking this quiet space to notice your breath. Maybe coming back to that stillness in the mind. Aware of how you feel, where you are in time and space. Noticing if there's anything else physically that you can let go of. Find more softness, more ease. And we're taking a final round of breath or two on this side as well. When you feel ready to come back to center, gently guiding yourself back to the mid place. Maybe again taking those knees side to side a little. Arms can release here. Choosing if you need any other stretches, shapes, or movements today, you can take those now. Could be a reach all the way through the body as long as you can get yourself. Maybe a hug of the knees, giving yourself a compressed or tight shape. Maybe a hug as a comforting place for you. Feeling free to release yourself all the way down to the ground for final relaxation as you're ready. Legs coming long. Arms gently released by the sides or placed on the heart or the belly. You can draw a blanket over top for warmth or coziness. And taking the space for yourself to relax a little bit deeper with every exhale. Allowing yourself to melt into the ground, moment by moment. Each breath helping you to release one more thing that doesn't serve you here. Giving yourself into the quiet space of the mind. Noticing if the thoughts are present or gently maybe even drifting slowly to ground. You might watch them as they flow or float. Maybe relaxing the space of the heart, anything that might be weighing on you today. Maybe just noticing it gently, receiving it with some compassion for yourself. As you give yourself into this quiet space of intention, allowing whatever it is that you need to know, be aware of, or realize in your life. Maybe the intention is for these things to come forward and be heard as you are in this receptive posture, open to the universe and open to your path, the guidance that you need to take your positive steps forward. Allowing yourself to receive and breathe in whatever gifts or answers may be ready for you. Another minute or so in this quiet, peaceful place.
taking a slightly deeper breath, infusing the whole body with the warmth and light, life force in the universe ready for you to draw it in and manifest your dreams and good works. Maybe allowing yourself to use that breath to create some movement if you feel ready. If not, feel free to stay calm and quiet. If you are ready for that movement, maybe taking some wiggles of fingers and toes, maybe circles to the wrists and the ankles. Gently breathing in that life force, drawing that power into yourself, maybe taking a hug of the knees into the chest once again, or wrapping the arms around yourself in a loving embrace. Maybe giving yourself some level of gratitude, kindness, or an affirmation or word that feels meaningful to you today. Maybe gently rolling to one side when you're ready, or pressing up to seated if you'd like to close class in that place. And if you do want to join me here, maybe inviting the hands to come to the heart. Maybe taking a slight bow of the chin toward the chest. Maybe reminding yourself of the intention that you set for this practice, or any new intention that feels good to you now. Inviting us to close this class with a chant of 3 Om or 3 Hum. You can join me starting in a deep breath, or you can just sit and receive. Honoring the light, the love, and the divine in each of you. Namaste. And thanking each of you for being a part of this time and this practice together, whether that's right now or into the future, coming back to the video, but just reminding ourselves that we all belong and we all exist in this fabric of the universe for a reason. So whatever that purpose or intention is for you, may that guide you through the day, and until we see each other again. Thank you.